Every successful person got there by going through tough times. Success is a hard-ass teacher who likes to knock you around along that journey. You know, it takes real guts to not give up and keep going. We'll hear stories about failures and how these leaders flip the script to create success. I'm John Schultz. Join me and let's discover how success is never really overnight. So welcome to the John Schultz podcast. Very excited to speak to our guest today. He is co-founder, Peter Phillips, of Chip City Cookies. The greatest, thickest cookies you could possibly eat. You really can't eat a whole one. You have to actually cut it like it's a cake, but it's so good you will probably eat the whole thing. He has bakeries in 14 locations throughout New York and counting. He co-founded the company in 2017 with his childhood friend, Teddy Gailas, as a side hustle. I love that. It's the millennial side hustle. We always wondered what would happen with these side hustles, and you're showing us today. He's preparing to launch in Florida, DC Metro, Boston, Connecticut, and New Jersey, where I am, which I love New Jersey. And what I thought was amazing, and obviously a lot of work to go and do, but recently Shake Shack founder Danny Myers, through Enlightened Hospitality Investments, invested $10 million, not $100,000, $10 million to accelerate your growth. You're obviously a passionate entrepreneur from a construction and real estate development background. And then a shout out to Andy Geller, who introduced us, who's our friend. And a shout out that Peter will be locating in the Gateway Center, Newark, with a store. We can't wait for that. Newark's going to be excited. I'm excited. So welcome, Peter. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, John. Really appreciate you having me on today.
I'm so excited. Okay. So here you have this co-founder, this side hustle. So when did you first meet your childhood friend, Teddy? How'd that happen? And, how old were you and how'd that kick off?
Yeah, we're friends from high school. We both attended Bronx High School of Science here in the Bronx in New York. And we had a friendship that blossomed over the years. And we always discussed doing something together. Teddy comes from a food and hospitality background. His parents owned and operated diners throughout the city. I come from the construction and real estate world, like you mentioned. And knowing how difficult partnerships can be sometimes, we wanted to get our feet wet on something that was rather, a smaller size venture. So I found a 250 square foot store in Astoria, Queens. And we opened our first location July of 2017 with one very small freezer. Our initial business plan, consisted of selling about 100 cookies a day. And now we sell thousands of cookies at our locations daily. So,
all right. So cookies, I get it. Side hustle, childhood friend, I know my friends and we're always batting off crazy ideas. I still do to this day. That's the fun part of having great relationships. But when you were younger, growing up, it's easy to say you're going to have a side hustle. Most people really don't. And if they do, they don't take that next step. Like, what were some of your things that you did when you were growing up? Did you play sports? Like, give us a little background of what shaped you as young Peter?
Yeah, I think what shaped me the most, is I grew up with a father who owned small businesses, who's a very active entrepreneur. And, he always kind of schooled me to the idea that if you could run one business, you could run any business. And that the principles that it takes to be successful, apply towards any category that you get involved with. And he always encouraged me to try new things and experience new things. And from that led to, this entrepreneurial spirit that I had, this passion to try and innovate. And for me, it's kind of my creative expression is building a business, building a concept. That's my form of creativity and the way I express myself.
So growing up, did you play sports? Did you work with your father at these?
Yeah,
companies?
I worked in the offices. I was, started, from a very young age. From 18 years old, I had my real estate license, and I was wheeling and dealing, working at my parents' office, and then eventually going out on my own into the city. And I played sports growing up. I definitely led to my competitive fire. I would say one of the events that really shaped me the most was in my time at Bronx Science. I was on the speech and debate team there, and I got to travel all around the country throughout my 4 years of high school, every weekend in a different state, doing these debate tournaments. And that for me was a really, transformative and shaping experience, and really helped cultivate me and grow my passions.
I love that because, I think one of the hardest things to learn, even though we have two ears and one mouth, is how to listen well and how to actually hear what's coming at you without thinking what you're going to say next. And, being on a debate team, I would think that would be a prime example of what you could learn and hone your craft with that. Plus, going out and pitching new ideas, right? You had to, whether it was an argument or a point that you were trying to create on the debate team, obviously, I'm sure that shaped how you were able to speak to, from investors to just getting this whole thing started, which is terrific. So
Definitely.
So the
And with
construction
debate,
industry,
you have to affirm and negate the topic. So sometimes you have to even learn to debate from the opposite side of your emotion or how you're feeling about something, and learning how to remove yourself from the situation and be objective was really a critical part of the process. So
I love that because that is the truth, right? They always say, like, take a step back or take a deep breath, or and get your sort of prefrontal cortex out of the conversation before you react too quickly. So how did construction happen? Did you just apply to a job? Like, how'd you get into the construction industry?
Yeah, so working in the real estate, that kind of like opened my eyes up to some new development projects. Being a broker from a young age, so I kind of got my feet wet a little bit there. We had done a small development project in Astoria, 21 condos, with my father's family business, and once I got a taste for it, I just fell in love. It's something I'm super passionate about, and again, just seeing a building come up from the ground, just like the ultimate expression of creativity for me, and just something I'm very passionate about. So I got my feet wet from that development project, and I knew it was something that I wanted to learn more. And I really got my hands dirty, man. I was working for a masonry foundation subcontractor as a foreman on the job sites. I learned how to drive all of the heavy equipment there on the job sites, excavators, lulls, bobcats, and I got to do a lot of the work with my own hands, and I really, really enjoyed that, and just kind of shaped me. And I realized then that it was something I wanted to continue with.
It's so funny. Obviously you're a younger guy. I work with lots of people that are looking to get into different careers when they graduate college or even a couple years in. And, everyone's looking for this big thing to happen. But like, I find like, what you want to do mostly by what you did that you find out you didn't want to do. Right. And when you test all the different, avenues of any industry, construction, getting on the trucks, whatever you were doing, the hands-on work you were doing, and I'm sure you did lots of other things, you start to get like, what are your real strengths in anything, right? And what I love about that is when you look at building a brand like you're building and having stores and having to now supersize yourself with this new investment, real estate's a huge integral part of that. So how do you feel construction has, and just like doing that, not knowing what it was going to end up being, right? That it was going to be applied to this. What do you think, and how did that benefit you?
Yeah, I mean, just everything you said is spot on, John. One experience leads to the next in life, and I never saw the path to where I am today beforehand, but now, like looking back on it, it's so obvious kind of how one thing led to the next thing and led me to the next thing. And having this experience in commercial real estate, my father is a landlord and also a property manager, and I was very seasoned negotiating commercial leases from the landlord side. And that was a really critical component to why we're so successful with Chip, because I have a lot of confidence now in negotiating leases and signing leases on behalf of the company. And then learning the other side of the business, the construction side, and being able to negotiate with contractors, being able to keep our construction costs down, and being able to utilize all of these things in terms of like how we approach the business and how we approach the build outs has been critical to our success. So, we turn around some jobs in less than 90 days.
How many years were you in construction?
Oh, my whole life I've had some experience with it, but I was like actively working for different contracting companies for about 5 years before I started my company. So it's about 12 years total experience now.
Wow. So that's good. And that's what's so interesting, right? Like you don't realize how things will lead, but they tend to lead if you keep your eyes open and ideas flowing. So all right, Teddy. So we're back to you and Teddy. I love that you have a childhood friend. I have many. I'm involved with them in different things now as life went on. But how did this idea then of Chip City cookies evolve? Like what was the real story of how this happened? Like, how did he come up with it? You come up with it? You come up with it together? How did it happen?
Yeah, it was really a collaboration. Like I said, this small store came available, and I brought him over there, and we were kind of brainstorming
But
different
how'd you get
ideas.
to cookies? Like
Yeah,
how did the whole
so
cookie
so
thing
it, it
come?
was a combination of factors. I think for both of us, it was like something nostalgic for us that we both felt passionate about, and we felt like it would be a really complimentary offering to a small coffee shop. So to have, and then drawing inspiration from other businesses that are offering big cookies, and seeing that trend, we felt like we could do something like that. And we felt like where we could really innovate was with a variety of flavor offerings. And that's kind of where we separate ourselves is in our variety of flavors. We have like over 40 base flavors with like another 20 seasonal flavors. We just launched, we had a double new flavor launch happen on Friday. It was our new brookie cookie and our caramel apple cider donut cookie. So that's where we really, differentiate ourselves is how we innovate with the flavors.
So here you are, you're like growing up. Did you ever think like when I grow up, I want to make cookies? That's why like it's almost
No,
I'm
no,
still gonna
no.
ask you again, like how did you get to a cookie? It's like crazy.
Yeah.
There's so many things you could, have as a side hustle, and I love it. Did you like sweets when you were younger? Like
Yeah, we definitely like I said, Teddy and I both have a creative passion, and we both like to experiment. Teddy was constantly in the kitchen working at his family restaurants.
love it.
So we were both fans of cookies, and we just felt like it was something that a lot of people connected with, and that's just how the brand was born.
All right, so you have the 250 footer, right? So how long did you have that until you said, "Oh my God, we have real customers.
Yeah,
Our
it was like
brand
day it was
actually
day one.
has like a feeling, not cult-like, but like has an absolute tribal like following, right?" So talk about
Yeah.
that.
It was like day one, man. I remember, I had the idea to give out some free product before we opened. So it was like a soft launch, and we wanted to like just get a feel for our systems and like how people were going to interact with the product. So we just did like a soft opening, and we weren't even selling anything. We were just giving cookies out, and like over 200 people walked in the door our first day. Without knowing that we were running any kind of free promotion or anything, just people walking in. You could smell the fresh baked cookies coming off the street. So that was just like dragging people in the door. And that's one of the staples of our model is when you walk into a Chip City location, you get hit with this like crazy aroma of these fresh baked cookies, and it's intoxicating. It really just pulls you in. So I would say day one, I realized we had something, and then we got some really great press early on. Insider Foods picked us up like a couple of weeks after we opened, and there was lines that followed after that first Insider video. We could not even keep up with the demand. We were be open 2 3 days out of the week, just struggling to keep up with production.
So okay, so now at least you feel this has a real chance, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you took a risk, you know, side hustle to reality is a big move. You put some money in, you invested, right? You focused on this rather than your construction job to a bigger
Well, yeah, they,
extent.
they they go hand in hand. I still have my carpentry company, and I have a team of carpenters on staff, and we're exclusively filled up with building Chip cities now. I don't take on any outside work, but I've been able to keep that company.
I
And
love that.
Teddy ended up leaving the his family restaurants to focus on this project full time. Yeah, and it's become all consuming. So definitely never saw this happening. I never envisioned myself as the cookie man, like people call me now. But I mean, to be a part of a brand and a company that brings people a smile and makes people happy is an awesome feeling. And to now have a group like Union Square Hospitality attached to us through the investment arm Enlightened, to have recognition from an established and restaurateur like Danny Meyer, who appreciates our culture and the systems that we put in place and the operation that we run. I mean, it's an incredible validator. I feel like we're living a dream.
That's like being picked by the best coach team
Yeah.
you could possibly be picked, right? Because I'm sure they look at hundreds of deals a year, if not more. And, you know, there's lots of other cookie companies out there that I'm sure they could have gotten involved in. So good for you. I love it. So, all right. Then when did you get your second store, your third store? When did the things start amplifying? And what would you say was your biggest challenge being a new entrepreneur and really a vertical that you really are learning as you go, as much as you found the right recipe for, because the cookies are out of unbelievable, right? But still, how do you amplify that, and what went through, and what were your ups and downs? What were your challenges? You know, how many times did you actually think, oh my God, it's over?
A lot of times. Yeah. Those are really great questions. And that's exactly kind of the things that we went through, but learning how to, create, right now we have an 18,000 square foot production facility where we make all of our own product. We don't outsource anything. Everything is done internally within our own network. And, creating the production facility that we needed with the capacity that we needed for this business was not something that either one of us had experience with. So we're very blessed that we found a lot of good people along the way. We've had a lot of great success stories here where people have grown from entry-level positions into upper management positions and are partners now in the company. One of the first people that we picked up was a young woman named Andrea Prunella, who is now our chief operating officer and also a partner in the company. I remember I hired Andrea within 10 seconds of interviewing her. I just felt like she had such a passion for what we were doing. And, we've learned together through trial and error. And, we started off kind of slowly. We had 4 units open until we shut down for a month when COVID hit. And I think after coming out of COVID and surviving that, which was, the scariest time, I've ever experienced, I really thought we were going to lose everything. We couldn't get people to come back to work. We were shut down for a whole month. So once we made it out of that, and not only did we make it out, but we thrived, gave me a lot of confidence. And I was like, you know what, now is the time. Let's put the pedal down, let's put our foot down on the gas and push this and see how far we can take it.
And isn't it amazing that, and that's why I love what I'm doing with the topic of this show, which is the myth of overnight success, right? It looks really great when the $10 million investment comes in and it's in the papers, but you went through COVID as a brand new company, being a young person. And I feel like everything that I've done well, it was when I had to go through something and I had confidence that I got through it, that actually I started believing in myself more. So as a younger person and, being an entrepreneur, do you feel that's what COVID did for you? And what do you feel?
Go ahead.
No, that's the question.
Yeah, definitely. It gave me a tremendous amount of confidence in myself and my team. Being able to navigate that storm, being able to bounce back and being able to come back strong was the ultimate validator of our business and our model, and gave me all the confidence that we needed to really push the envelope and see what we can achieve. And again, just seeing the team grow and develop, seeing myself grow and develop. We have over 170 employees now. And I've never done anything like this before on this scale. I used to manage a lot of guys on the construction site, but this is a whole different animal, spread out over so many locations and spread out over this geography. So just finding confidence in myself, finding resolve, making it through these hard times, believing in my team, trusting in my team, learning how to be a better leader and listener every day. These are the things that are helping push this company forward.
Right. But you made a very big decision, which most people don't, is you felt, and I think I read somewhere, you feel like you have 9 equity partners, from the COO to the chief pastry chef. So listen, all these tech companies give out options, but that doesn't mean you're an owner of the company, right? You basically have warrants or whatever, and you're there, and if you stay long enough, you get them. As a young person, what made you feel you needed to bring these people into the fold in a much bigger, more beneficial way?
I needed them to care about the company the way that I care about the company. And I felt like the only way to achieve that is to have somebody that, has ownership the way that I have ownership. And, I'm lucky that I have a co-founder that, shared that belief system, because not too many people would get on board with the idea of just giving away pieces of their company. But I knew that, for us to really grow this into what I wanted it to be and the vision that I needed it to be, we needed to bring on these key people. And, we have such a diverse, talented team with experience across a wide range of industries and backgrounds. And them having ownership and having the same love that I have for the business and the same love my co-founder had for the business has been instrumental in our success. And I have never regretted that decision for 1 minute. And it's paid off. It's paid off dividends for all of us.
It's funny. It's like 100% of nothing is nothing, right?
Yeah.
So that was a great move. And, owning it and feeling like you own it and acting as if you own it. I just think that's what makes companies productive and grow. And, you got to scale, right? Like, so here we are, you got 14 stores and now you're going to have to produce and go get to scale. What do you think? First of all, what have some of the challenges been scaling to this point? And what do you think some of the future challenges could be that you need to, focus on to scale at a level now that's going to be way different than you're used to?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always a balance, right? Because, we've moved our kitchen 5 times in 5.5 years of existence. We went from a little closet to an 18,000 square foot facility now. And we're going to need even a bigger facility down the road, depending on, how we expand across the nation. So, just kind of learning how to not stretch ourselves too thin while at the same time giving the company room to grow has been a real, been a real balancing act. And, like I said, having these partners that have had equity in the company and have interest in the upside, has allowed us to run a really lean operation because we all have the same goal here and we're all going to benefit, from the big finish that we're hoping to achieve.
So what is your favorite cookie flavor, I might ask?
Oh, that's tough, John. There's so many good ones, but
come on, everyone wants to hear it. Like, it may not be forever, but like, what is it?
So my background is I'm Greek. My family's from Greece, and we do a baklava cookie once a year for Greek Easter. So I would have to say that the baklava cookie is my favorite.
And what flavor has not worked? Like, what are some of the ones that didn't work? Because, like, obviously you have your flavors. Have you had a bomb, like something that didn't work?
No, everything has been a success. Obviously, varying degrees, but the one thing that's unique to everybody is we all kind of have our own taste buds, and everybody likes different things. So there hasn't been anything that hasn't been a success. And we follow a real, we're not just doing like, flavors that make no sense. Everything that is kind of inspired by our menu is something that's nostalgic for people or is something that you already have some kind of familiarity with. So that's been a key part of our model, and it's worked very well for us.
And why not cupcakes?
Just we're a cookie brand, I feel like nowadays you want to be niche and you want to be specialized, and cookies are where we want to be.
So with all the competition out there, right? I guess you got other brands that are in this. There's been before you, and like now, it seems like for some reason there's more of these brands than ever. What's your thoughts on that? Like why all of a sudden are there all these brands?
Yeah, so the industry in general has exploded. A lot of popularity with cookies right now. I think that one of the main drivers for our success is that we're very social media driven. We've had great success with Instagram, now with TikTok, and cookies as a medium translate very well through social media. So I think that part of our social media driven culture is one of the reasons why cookies have been so popular. They photograph well, they translate well through that medium. And it gets people interested in it. And like I said, I think that the feelings of nostalgia, everybody has kind of this memory of a fresh baked cookie out of the oven. And I think that really connects with people. So yeah, I mean, that's why I think cookies in general are doing so well. And I think where we separate ourselves is, I really believe that we are best in class, and we give a different level and attention to our production than any of these other brands out there. We control our entire production process. We make all of our cookies from scratch. We do not work with co-packers, and that's caused us to grow a little bit slower than some other brands that are franchise models or whatnot. We're entirely corporate owned by one team. But we feel like it's a marathon, not a sprint, and that's why we've taken our time to make sure that we can maintain the quality of the product, and we never want to grow at the expense of the quality of the product.
Is that why you picked Danny Meyer? Let's talk a little bit about that. Because at the end of the day, what you're saying is not usually what growth equity wants,
exactly,
right? They want you to scale as fast as possible and, beat the competition. So why'd you choose them? Obviously, I'm sure you had other suitors that would want your cookie empire to grow. And
you hit the nail on the head. Enlightened Hospitality doesn't make investments purely based on the numbers. They really are looking for the other intangibles, the way people react to your product, the culture that you create for your employees. And that was what was most attractive to us about Enlightened and about Danny Meyer, is that they do look at all of these things outside the lines. And that was something that we always did here in the company. And it was a really difficult process for us when we first started talking to other venture capital groups, because they don't look at these things. And, I kind of felt like I was smacking my head against the wall, trying to explain to these people why these things are, important to the culture that we created. And if you lose these intangibles, we're not going to be Chip City any longer. And then we found the group like Enlightened, which consists of Mark Levitt, Danny Meyer's college roommate, and the other managing partner, Pete Mavridis. And they have culture in their blood. And we really had that connection. And I'm just really grateful that we found them, and that we can continue to do things the way that we do them here at Chip City. Danny says all the time about Shake Shack, he's not going to be the first or last person to make a burger and fries and a shake, but, operating on a different level and bringing the best possible experience to the consumer will separate you. And that's what we do here at Chip City. And that's why we're the best.
How funny is that you and Teddy and Danny, and who was his college roommate?
Mark Levitt.
How cool is that? I mean, that's sort of weird, right? Like you both have
a lot of synergy there.
A lot of synergies. I love that. So what would you say because it's brick and mortar, and then you got, this whole internet presence, which you said you had. And if you look at Warby Parker, Untuckit, they started digitally native, and then they got this halo effect from having bricks and mortar along with online for cost of acquisition of a customer. How do you see that, since now, I think everyone realized you need both today? How's your online sales compared to the brick and mortar? Does brick and mortar really give that halo effect to the customer online? What have you learned from that, since you're sort of doing it simultaneously? And, do you have TikTok influencers, and is all that matter? And
influencer outreach. Influencer outreach has been one of the staples of our marketing strategy from the beginning. Connecting with influencers, these people have a hold over the people that watch their content, and connecting with them and getting the product into their hands has been crucial to our success from day one. So, you don't want to get away from the fundamentals in life. When you have something that works, you keep going with it. So we've just been really disciplined in sticking towards, to what we know. And we're applying that same strategy now as we grow out of state. And we're going to continue to work through our social media channels. But yes, retail is everything for us. Everything.
Do you have an online order? Yeah. Do you get a lot of online orders, or they have to come to the store?
Yes, we do, but it all started with the retail. So it's so important that we continue to expand our retail footprint, because just getting the cookie by itself is not the whole Chip City experience. Walking into the store and getting hit with that aroma and the way that our employees are so excited about the brand, that's all part of the Chip City experience. So we feel like, we've turned down a lot of deals with a lot of, companies that want to do ghost kitchens and things like that for us, because we really want to lead with the retail. We want your first experience with Chip City to be a new store in your market. We do also offer the product now. You can order it through Uber's Ship Anywhere program. You can get cookies overnight anywhere in the country now. We have a great relationship with Uber for local deliveries as well, which represents a considerable portion of the business now. But it all started with the retail, and we're going to keep going with the retail.
So how funny is that? You're a young man doing what you're doing, starting a company, doing it the opposite of what was happening 10 years ago with Warby Parker, Untuckit, all these digital native brands that also ended up eventually having bricks and mortar. I remember, I'm older than you, when Amazon and everything came out, no more retail ever, right? And obviously we went through that whole change, and it has changed. There's less retail, smaller store formats, different strategy. but like at the end of the day, people are human. And like the experience when I walked into your store, I was like, oh my God, I did feel that like, oh wow, I could just hang out here and breathe the air in. I'm praying with Gateway Center, like to even bring more people back to the office, right? Because now we're going through the whole COVID and everyone's rejiggering sort of how they work and, you know, the whole hybrid conversation that's going on. But I'm so I love your bricks and mortar first strategy, because that's not, you know, if you interview most companies, that's not been what it has been in retail in the past. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that, like you said, we've kind of done it kind of the old school way, but with our new flavor on it. You know, we have our stores operate with electric convection ovens, so we don't have venting or Ansel systems the way most restaurant concepts do. And that's kind of where the challenge is for a lot of these types of concepts growing. So we've kind of taken a fresh approach towards the model. And, you know, we can operate out of a very small footprint. Our smallest current store currently is like 350 square feet, going all the way up to about 1,000 or 1,200. So, you know, we definitely have a new approach on an old strategy.
So is the 1,200, you can actually sit in there and like,
yeah, so we have some opening now that are, you know, have a little bit more seating and more comfort for people. So, you know, definitely depending on which market, you know, we're into, we're going to have slightly different stores. Every store is a unique design because we want every neighborhood to know that you're important to us, and that, you know, we're not just treating it as a cookie cutter experience. So every time you walk into a Chip City,
no
you'll see
pun
a lot
intended.
of
No pun intended there. A cookie cutter experience.
Yeah, exactly. No pun intended.
Awesome. So one more question. I have to ask this. I can't help you. Can't help it. What is your favorite non-dessert food?
My favorite non-dessert food.
Yeah.
I'm a big steak guy. I love steaks. Yeah.
So steak and cookies. I love it.
Peter Luger's has always been a favorite of mine. Even
there you
Peter
go.
Peter Luger's. Yeah.
And what would you say? Because I obviously we've learned so much about you, and I could feel the energy coming from the screen, being on, you know, this interview with you. What, like, if you could pick one or two things, like what brings you coming back day after day with that level of energy? Like,
it's the people. It's the people, you know, it's all the staff that we have here. You know, I just want to make sure that, you know, everybody walks away from this with the best possible experience. You know, we've been able to change a lot of lives here, and I come back for my team with this energy every day because they need me to be that guy. And also for our, you know, our customers, like I said, all the joy that we bring people. My little cousins, they get so excited about the brand. You know, it has nothing to do with their attachment to me, but just seeing the way little kids react to the brand and the love that they have for it. You know, I really feel like we're part of something special here. And that gets me so excited to come back to work every day.
You're like the Willy Wonka guy for your nephews and nieces. I mean, come on, you're the modern day. I love it. It's great. Yeah. All right. Well, how can people find, like, we're you know, I said you're planning on all these different areas. I guess you're coming to Jersey. Like, where are your next openings so people can know?
Yeah. So the next 3 units we're opening are all going to be in Jersey. We're opening our Hoboken location. We're opening the Gateway project at Junction at Gateway. And we're opening another one in Ridgewood, New Jersey. So those are the next 3 that we're opening. And you could follow us for updates on our website at chipcitycookies.com or through our social media channels at Chip City Cookies. And, you know, we have a lot more stores to open, like you said, throughout the tri-state area. We're going into Boston, into the DMV, they call it, which is DC proper, Maryland, and Virginia. And we're opening a lot of units throughout the state of Florida.
Well, listen, this was so much fun. I'm so happy for you. You know, what I learned from you is you it seems like you stick to your roots. I mean, even how you picked, and, you know, obviously you had other offers to go with the Danny Meyer group. You stuck with your principles. You know, I loved your answer. Why do you come back every day? The people, because really that's all that really does matter, is being around people and supporting, you know, that support each other and all on a mission, right? And all have a place that everyone wants to go and you go together. So thanks for being here. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure since we met, and you have that same passion, and I really appreciate you having us a part of the Junction at Gateway. Can't wait to launch that new location.
We love Newark. We can't wait. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.